Ambassador, there are talks going on in Abu Dhabi over Ukraine. What is Russia's position?
They just started. I cannot say what is exactly Russian position because it is not in the open ear. What I can tell you about the talks is that we did have 3 rounds of talks with Ukraine and Istanbul, May, June and July. They did not brought much of a result, I will say, except for the exchange of prisoners. 2,3, 2,4 of prisoners has been exchanged. We stick to the understandings that has been reached in Anchorage in Alaska between American team led by President Trump and Putin with our team. So we stick to this understanding completely. As for Ukraine, it is different. They are trying to turn it. They are trying to make, even in this difficult position of losers, they are trying to dictate actually their own understanding based on the coalition of forces that should guarantee, bring some security guarantees to Ukraine at the end of conflict.
I mean, it's been downgraded in terms of who's going. Witkoff isn't there anymore. Does that mean this, do these talks really matter? Are they going anywhere?
Of course they do. Anyway, without talking to each other, perhaps with participation of Americans or without participation, we need to work out many details on the subject. There are 3 groups that we have suggested, a military one, political one, and humanitarian one. All these groups should work. What we do have right now is a dialogue that is going on different levels, in different formats. Anyway, this is much better than only fight.
When we spoke in December, you said Russia's position was that Ukraine can surrender. It sounds like that's changed.
No.
You're prepared for a compromise now?
No, I don't think so. Our position has not changed. It has been laid out by the president 2 years ago, nearly, and we have not changed. I said that I'm not aware of all the details. That is true, because this is being discussed on the very high level of administration over there, and it is not through the newspapers or through the open sources that we should discuss the details. We continue to do that.
Right, so when Trump says a deal is close, is that true? Or is that just Trump?
What do you mean? Is it just Trump? He believes, well, it's a thinking process of the American president, what we see. If he believes it, that the deal is close, then perhaps...
He tries to make a reality.
It is his approach it is his vision of the situation.
Are you hopeful?
Well, I'm hopeful that sooner or later it should be changed, but it will not be on conditions that are being proposed and pushed by Ukraine. Not at all. We will not allow to deploy any NATO members state or the troops of them on territory of Ukraine, because it will be another line of attack against Russia. We understand that Ukraine wants guarantee. We also need guarantee as well, security guarantee. And the best security guarantee in this situation will be that we will be safe, that we are not going to expect attack by NATO forces or by Ukraine, whatever it is.
The coalition of the willing, as they call themselves, seem very sure that they can send peacekeeping troops into Ukraine. You always said that was unacceptable. Is it still unacceptable?
Yes, it is. It is still unacceptable. Yes, of course, I did. I have seen the article in Financial Times, which is now being discussed about phased sending of troops in case, just in case. I can only say that it has not been discussed with us at all.
So the idea of British or French or German troops in Ukraine?
It is dead.
It's dead?
It is dead, yes. And what Secretary General of NATO is continuing to repeat, that very soon we are going to send troops to Ukraine and so on. We have to have an agreement. And agreement I don't believe that this agreement will contain this idea of deploying troops on the territory of Ukraine as soon as ceasefire will be with you.
So what is the security guarantee that could be offered? If there are no foreign troops guaranteeing Ukraine's safety, then what is the guarantee?
There are positive and negative security guarantees. If you send troops, this is one thing. But very many agreements that are ending conflicts, it is political guarantees, legal guarantees that are over there. And the best will be good relationship between United States and Russia, good relationship between European countries and Russia, including London, I mean. That's the establishing normal, respecting each other, respecting interests of each other, and respecting guarantees for each other.
But relations, particularly with London, are at a new low,
Yes,
with tit-for-tat expulsions.
Yes, exactly. They're very low now. What I can say.
Why did
what do you
Russia
want from
expel
me?
a British
This was not
diplomat?
our idea. We expelled British diplomat because he was actually part of he was linked to, we did not expel him. We just deprived him from accreditation. It's a different thing. Because he was linked to the intelligence society, so what I can say. I cannot reveal any details about that. It is just an established fact.
Right, but it has taken the relationship to a new low. You were called into the Foreign Office again.
No, we are playing this. This game.
You think it's a game?
This is not a game, of course. But it is a normal diplomatic practice. Britain has established zero tolerance to presence of intelligence officers without undeclared intelligence officers on its soil. Okay, we reacted the same, so it is also zero tolerance on the presence of intelligence officers on the Russian soil, undeclared. So what we have had is we discovered that presence has happened, and we're taking measures.
In the last few days, Russia has attacked civilian targets and energy infrastructure, and has announced that it has attacked energy infrastructure. Why are you attacking energy in the deepest part of winter, when people can freeze to death?
There is a story behind it, and if you please listen to what I am going to say. About a year ago, we refrained totally from attacking energy infrastructure of Ukraine. But differently, Ukraine has successfully targeted several refineries, oil production facilities across Russia. That was the case, and it was very much encouraged by London, by other Western capitals. They said Ukraine is successful in it. After a conversation with President Trump, President Putin said we are prepared to have a 1 month pause on attacking each other energy infrastructure. And we did so. Differently, Ukraine continued to strike our refineries and across Russia. And at that time, Zelensky was saying, yes, Russian people should suffer. They should understand what is blackout and what are the preludes of the war and difficulties. We remember that. So now this is our answer.
This is retaliation?
In some way. It is not totally a retaliation, because the most important is that we should deprive the producing capacities of Ukraine, especially in Kyiv, because it is 50% of military production in Kyiv. So we are trying to cut off energy from this military production just to finish the conflict. We are targeting those energy facilities that are supplying military production across the country.
For 4 years, we have asked you, is this worth the human price, both of Ukrainian civilians, who used to be your countrymen, and of Russian soldiers? And the price has got up and up and up as time goes on. How long will the Russian people carry on accepting these terrible losses of their young men in this war?
Well, we have also losses in civilian sector as well. So because Ukraine is attacking Belgorod region, and last week,
how can it be worth it for a bit of eastern Ukraine?
The threat that we have experienced is very serious, and it is existential. In fact, and I think that we have discussed it with you, because it is high price, of course, but we need to resolve it once and forever. That is why we are saying that cessation of fire is not sufficient. We need an overall settlement together with other countries involved, and comprehensive settlement of this problem, that we will never experience a threat from Ukrainian soil and from NATO, which is now pushing Ukraine towards this line of threatening against us.
In the real world, isn't an overall settlement that lasts forever impossible? You know, these are always negotiations in which neither side quite gets what it wants and is likely to come back when it feels strong. That's what Russia's done before.
Well, I disagree with you. In the period of Cold War and after that we did have peace since '75 until the year 2000, I will say, due to the Helsinki Act, Paris Declaration, and all of that. These are documents signed by the leaders of Europe, including us and the United States, which provided peace for all of us for quite a long time. And we have a United Nations after the Second World War. So there are instruments, and it's not about deployment of forces in some cases, but these instruments can be used and they're perfectly known to each other. And divisible security for everybody, not for one country, not for only some group of countries, but for everybody across Eurasian space.
The thing that has changed since we last spoke is the United States' use of its military. Russia condemned the incursion into Venezuela, where they snatched Maduro, as an attack on a sovereign country. How is that different to Russia's attack on Ukraine, also a sovereign country?
No, well, it is. I don't see connection.
Two sovereign countries attacked by two others.
Well, there was a certain operation, but there was no continuation to this operation in Venezuela. They did not change the pattern of the government over the years. In general, I do not see a war between Venezuela and the United States. They do have a certain conflict about oil, about privatization that happened in early 2000s, and the new situation is over there. But I'm seeing negotiations also on the release of Maduro and his family. I know that ambassador of Venezuela that has been posted here has gone to the United States, and he's working on that subject.
So you're less concerned now by Venezuela?
I don't see that a major conflict is rising. We are afraid that something might happen with Cuba because it is much more acute, and Cuba, as we know, pronunciations by President Trump, but they will defend themselves very seriously, I guess it is.
What about Greenland?
This is none of our business.
Is it not? Because Trump says the reason he wants Greenland is because of a Russian threat.
Yeah, well, sometimes he's expressing certain ideas which cannot be confirmed by realities. Greenland, we are in no way involved in the issue of Greenland, as our Chinese colleagues are saying as well. So it is irrelevant.
Do you not care if America takes Greenland?
But I have to make a point about that, because it is for us was a great surprise when leaders of the Western world have supported the idea of self-determination of Greenland. They are saying that it is, of course, it is up to Greenland to determine itself. Why to Greenland? Why not to Crimea? It's a big comparison, by the way. So that's.
Will Russia oppose any attempt by the United States to take Greenland effectively?
I cannot provide hypothetical answer to hypothetical questions.
But it's a bit more than hypothetical now. I mean, it's a stated desire by Trump.
I do not know.
That he wants Greenland.
I have no idea. He is saying of many different things. He is saying that he would like to buy Greenland. He is saying initially that he will get Greenland, but then he has said that he is not interested in military intervention, everything. So at this moment, I have no position. We just follow the events very attentively, of course.
Trump has also persuaded India to stop buying Russian oil eventually. Is he putting the squeeze on you?
He was saying the same things 2 months ago, then a month ago, and now once again.
But they've agreed now.
We haven't got any notice from Indian government on this subject.
Well, I mean, haven't they said that when the supplies of oil can be replaced, perhaps by Venezuelan oil, which I accept is a long way away, then they would stop.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So you don't think this is significant?
I simply do not know, and I have no answer to that. I know that in India there is a very complicated system of refineries. There are state refineries, there are private refineries, and which the balance is sometimes changing. Well, anyway, there will be still a big demand for oil on the market, and not only by India, in China as well, and other states of Asian states as well. So market is over there still.
As you know, Britain and America are both gripped and perhaps obsessed by the Epstein files. The Epstein files mention Vladimir Putin many times, and it is suggested that Epstein was trying to meet the president. Do you know if he ever met Vladimir Putin?
My president is a very serious personality, and he will never be involved in any kind of this kind of a tricky thing. So it is absolute nonsense to think about it, to publish ideas on that side. The source of these ideas, I have seen it as some kind of lady which is in Kiev.
But there were clearly many Russian people, many Russian women, who may have been victims of Epstein, may have been trafficked by Epstein.
I have heard about one only. I read in your newspapers.
But are you worried?
She still refused.
What I mean is, are you worried that Russian people, Russian women, were perhaps exploited by Epstein in this, well, what was effectively a Western grooming gang?
Personally, I'm not. I have no idea how it works. I have seen that there is a big scandal here in Britain, of course, which is developing, which once again has seen what kind of democracy is here in London, and the influential people, maybe they are involved now, right now, in a big scandal over here. As for the Russian factor, nothing to say. I don't believe that Epstein has ever been or ever has been connected to the political world in our city.
He was connected to your colleague at the United Nations, and there are communications between the Russian ambassador office, at least, and Epstein in an attempt to make contact. I mean, what seems to have been the case was that Epstein was trying to offer advice, intelligence to Russia.
I suggest we'd better take other topic to discuss, because I'm not very attentively read all these articles about Epstein. I have seen that many members of royal families across Europe has been involved, but I don't remember that I have seen something about our UN ambassadors.
The thing that people are saying, though, is was Epstein a Russian agent of some kind?
Oh, you have Russian agents around the corner here in Germany or here in Great Britain. You are trying to find them. This is one of the best.
Are you sure he wasn't?
This is one of the mostly discussed topic in the United Kingdom. Finding other Russian spy or and other intelligence sources. Well, of course, I'm looking at that with regret and smile.
But are you sure he wasn't a Russian asset?
I have no simply. I don't believe that. I can't believe that.
But you don't know.
I don't. Of course, I do not know why. Why should I know? I am in no position to know that thing. But given the situation, I know that he has been provided some information by Lord Mendelssohn, who is not today a lord. But as for this Russian connection, I even was not interested to read about that.
Because a lot of politicians and analysts in Britain say, well, the people who will be very pleased about this are the Russians. Because they will look at the chaos in British government, they will look at the shame in the British royal family and say, this is good for us.
You do have a chaos, that is true, in the British government because of the bad ruling, that is true. But I haven't seen much of interest towards this case in our media, really.
Do you think it helps you strategically?
In no way.
When the West is obsessed by this?
It's your business, it is your story, and it is your scandal, which is publicized now very widely. I don't believe that we have any interest in it at all.
But perhaps you benefit.
Why?
Because governments...
we are serious people. Political scandals, it is not in us. I don't believe that in the recent years you have heard any kind of political scandal that can be in Moscow, really politician involved. So this is not our world.
You are serious people. I mean, the thing that is clearly shifting at the moment is what we regard as the world order. President Putin and President Xi have met again, and we've seen it. That this has been announced by both sides. Do you think the world is changing into a multipolar world now, in which Trump, Putin, Xi, perhaps Modi, are the people who rule their regions?
This is not a new idea. It has been brought on the table by our Minister of Foreign Affairs, then Prime Minister Primakov. That's a long time ago. That is, we are moving towards a new multipolar world, and this is absolutely true. Because after the Cold War, United States tried to dominate in the world, but it didn't happen. Actually, we have now multipolar world, which includes different states, not only those who are big states like Russia, China, or United States, but also medium-range states, small states, and what we need is respect for all. respecting interests for every country, every government, and understanding it and trying not to confront. But of course, in the case that we have a sort I would say a cohesion of interests between big countries, then we need not to confront, but if we have differences, then we need to settle them without bringing them to confrontation.
And do you believe
if we have similar interests, then we need to move to promote them in the world for the benefit of the world, not for the case of confrontation.
And do you believe the old institutions, the post-war institutions of the United Nations and other international organizations will uphold? Because clearly the Trump administration is trying to undermine them.
Well, these are their view. They have actually abandoned some of the United Nations institutions, that is true, but they didn't abandon the Security Council. And I have to say that on the composition of the United Nations and on the pattern of work of the United Nations, we are in a full agreement with the United States, as well as with China.
When you say you're in full agreement, I mean, Trump thinks the United Nations is...
No, I'm speaking about...
is failing.
Not of secondary institutions, but on the main institutions, a Security Council, General Assembly, and all of that, US has stayed in.
But the US is also creating the Board of Peace and has invited President Putin to join it.
Right.
I mean, as possibly a rival to the United Nations.
There is a certain play of words in the thing, because initially everybody was thinking that this is a Council of Peace, which is in Russian the same, by the way, so board and the Council, but it is now a kind of a ruling board, the concept of which is unclear for us, and still we suggested that we can give $1 billion from the assets frozen in the United States to this Board of Peace, but we didn't sign up yet. It is. Yeah. We are still trying to understand what will be the role of this body. But of course, it cannot substitute the United Nations.
It cannot?
It cannot, no. In no way.
Wouldn't a body like that inevitably become a rival to the United Nations?
It is still unclear what it is. What we do have, it is some, I will say, you have seen who has signed it. It's a certain composition of certain countries, which of course are not, I would say, dominant, but others, they still abstain from signing to it. We are trying to understand what United States would like to make out of it. It is still unclear. The situation in the Middle East doesn't move. There is a cessation of fire, but they are not moving towards settlement, and they are trying to move. So we will see what is going to work out, what will be the continuation of that.
We're here at the beginning of the year, and people are hoping that this will be the final year of conflict in Ukraine. Do you think that is likely?
It is likely for two reasons. One is that we are moving, the front is moving pretty steadily, I wouldn't say quickly, because right now it is a winter time, January, but it is still moving. If we talk in November about Pokrovsk and Mirnograd as issues that are being at that time under fire or under certain pressure, right now we're talking about totally others, because front has moved westwards. Front also have moved from the south, and front is moving from the north. So smaller and smaller part of Donbass is now under control of Ukraine. And if I believe that with spring, this movement will continue from all sides, and if Ukraine do not want to resolve it peacefully, we will take it by force.
I mean, there is some new analysis just out this week showing that this is the slowest moving front in modern warfare in a century. Yeah. You know, that this is not a successful invasion by any stretch of the imagination. It's very, very slow.
That depends on the point of view. We can do it like Americans has done it in Iraq, with a very strong blows on the cities by aviation, tanks, and all of that, like they crushed all cities in Iraq. But we are not doing that, because we are trying to preserve a population, civilians, and all of that. So it is totally different war. It is slow, as President has said once, it is chirurgical type of war. Very different one, very accurate one. Of course, it is slow because it's a populated area, and we have the whole might of NATO countries that are behind Ukraine. But look what is happening. It is with all that might. Rutte was, Secretary of NATO, was in Kiev yesterday and today, and he's not talking about peace. He talks about more supplies of weapons. We will give you more weapons. He is saying to Ukrainians. So he's pushing them to fight. Not to stop, not to negotiate, but to fight. You would like to have more weapons. We will dig in our arsenals. He was saying it in the parliament and to public. So he do not want peace. And here in London, they are never talking about kind of diplomatic efforts. And well, I have been in Foreign Office 2 days ago. We didn't talk about diplomatic efforts on that side. London is not interested in it. London is interested to push Ukrainians to fight and to continue to do harm to Russia. It is now, they are not talking about strategic defeat because it's impossible, but they still would like Ukrainians to fight.
And you are interested in diplomacy, is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Because you said you're not prepared to compromise.
But many times we stopped military actions, and in return we didn't get peace. And we know that Ukrainians are very difficult partner in negotiating. They're very stubborn. They will lie. They will put upside down things. And even now, as I understand, in Abu Dhabi, they do not want to discuss central issues of Anchorage, where we have reached a certain composition of peace with Americans. They would like to discuss subsidiary issues, how it was said, collateral issues linked to the future settlement and the future construction of peace. The central elements of the concept, they are still beyond discussion, and they do not touch them upon.
Ambassador, thank you very much.
Thank you, too.